This is Time Signatures with Jim Irvin, a podcast and radio program presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan. Most any contemporary musical style can trace its roots back to the blues. Time Signatures explores the blues and its musical connections with captivating interviews, lively discussions, and news from the world of the blues.
You know I'm crying, baby, driving up and down these Michigan roads, yeah.
And now, here he is, your host, Jim Irvin.
Baby, I'm home.
Hey, thank you so much, Parker, and welcome to Time Signatures. I'm your host, Jim Irvin, and before we go any further and I get into the show here, I have to admit that I was up late last night. My voice is definitely on the rough edge right now because I was screaming and hooting and hollering at the Michigan game as they beat Alabama and sent the Tide rolling right down the road. So that's why I sound like I do. But I wanted to address that because I don't sound like I normally do and just move on. So I'm pleased and honored to be recording live today from the VFW National Home in Eaton Rapids, Michigan, the only Eaton Rapids on earth. And my very special guests are Michael Wilson, the executive director of the VFW National Home here, and also Travis Mandenberg, who also works at the VFW National Home. But he also holds a distinction of being among the first graduates for the home's Guitars for Vets program. And that's what we're going to talk about today. For anybody that knows me, you know that I absolutely love our veterans, our men and our women of the military. So it gives me great pleasure to, first of all, say to both of you, thank you for your service and welcome to Time Signatures. Glad to have you here.
We're glad to be here.
Very happy to be here.
Fantastic. So, Michael, we're going to dive right in here, and we're going to start with you, sir.
Okay.
I did a little bit of homework on the Guitars for Vets program, and I was blown away because nationally, there's 110 chapters in 40 states, and there's a handful here in Michigan. Mm-hmm. I also understand that Brian Laurent was involved with this program here locally.
Yes, he and I are the ones that started it. So back in 2022, early 2022, I discovered it through a visit to the VFW's national headquarters shortly after I took the position as executive director here. Knowing Brian was a musician and an artist himself from past life.
Right.
He'd been here, over 20 years, working here for over 20 years. And when I got back and talked to Brian, I said, this is a program we got to start.
It's at 6 degrees of separation because I knew Brian through the Sun-Dried Festival because he used to play with his band. Mm-hmm. And he is from St. Ignace, which is where I've got family up there.
Oh, interesting.
And so when I saw Brian Laurent pop up on the screen today, when I clicked on the location to find an outlet for this program, and I saw his name, and I'm like, oh man, this is really cool.
Yeah. So he helped get it rolling. He helped get us started.
Very, very cool. Now this was, you said, back in 2022.
Yeah, 2022 was March of 2022 when I discovered Guitars for Vets through the VFW.
Okay.
They're a partner, and like I said, I brought it back and talked to Brian. And Brian had kind of, retired from the music business and was raising family and, being a coach and all that. And I could tell there was a little twinkle in his eye, and he still was interested in getting something going. So him and I got it rolling. He'd moved on to a different career by the time we got really into it, but he was helpful in getting it set up and getting Travis signed up and some of the other guys that played in our first cohort.
Very cool.
2023.
Very cool. Now, this chapter's been in existence for the last couple of years. I was blown away as I was looking at some of this stuff. 50,000 lessons have been taught through this program, and over 5,000 guitars have been given to the men and women of our military.
Yeah.
And it's such a cool program when you look at the background of it. But I loved reviewing the list of sponsors that included Gibson Gives Foundation, the Yance Valor Foundation, also Gibson Brands, Les Paul Foundation, Three Chord Bourbon, who's got ties to the music industry, Heartland Home Health and Hospice, and as a former hospice aide, it gave my heart a little jump to see them involved in it, and so many more. But you guys have some strong partners in the program, don't you?
There is. I mean, Guitars for Vets is, it's been around, I think, since 06 or 07, 2006, 2007. Okay. Once you see the results of the program, you really... if you get any kind of heart at all, you kind of fall in love with what it does for veterans.
Yes, sir.
So, and I think that's why there are so many foundations and organizations that back the Guitars for Vets program.
Absolutely. And I love the fact that you guys take donations of cash as well as the hardware, the guitars and whatnot. Talk about that for a minute. I mean, do you have people locally that bring guitars and donations to you for the program?
Well, I would like to tell you a very heartwarming story.
Please.
We have events here all the time at the National Home where organizations come visit, primarily VFWs and auxiliaries from around the United States, come and visit. And our membership meeting was in October. While we were at the membership meeting, a lot of times we do a thing called Parade of Checks. People will bring donations during that time for whatever, either a project we're working on or just general fund donations. And up walks this lady with a guitar case and a guitar. And she wants to donate this guitar.
Wow.
Her husband was a Vietnam veteran, and he'd bought the guitar new back in the early 80s.
Wow.
And never really got the hang of it, put it in the closet, get it out every now and again. But he was hanging on to it in hopes that maybe one of his kids or grandkids would have interest and start playing, and they never did. And of course, he died of service-connected causes. He died of Agent Orange, cancer from Agent Orange.
Gotcha.
And his guitar had just been in the closet for 3 or 4 years. And his wife said, I heard about the National Home's Guitars for Vets program, and I wanted to bring this and donate it to a worthy veteran that's learning to play guitar. And so we got it. It's a beautiful early 1980s Alvarez acoustic. It's at a Guitar Tech's right now, getting the new bone saddle for the bridge and a couple things. And we're going to put a little story in there about her husband in the case. We'll stick it in the
very cool. Some provenance.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and so yeah, we've had probably a dozen guitars donated from people that just they got it, they wanted to figure it out, they tried to learn, they couldn't do it, and they thought, what a better cause? Let's just give it to the National Home for their Guitars for Vets program.
That is so cool. Now we got to bring Travis in here. Because as I mentioned at the top of the show, he is a member of the first graduating class from the local chapter here of the Guitars for Vets. Now, the program touts the benefits of music for our vets who are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. I know this is a very personal issue, but can you talk about how music has helped you along the way and how it's helped you cope with PTSD?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I am a very big proponent of any sort of art therapy.
Sure.
And I think to a certain degree, everybody probably has their own art form that they fall into or that they connect with. Music is a very, very big, I think it has a very big psychological impact on everyone.
Sure.
And I think being able to touch that, whether it is learning to play maybe the songs that got you through the hardest times in your life, deployment included, can have a very big impact. But also, and Mike says this all the time, I think, you just can't feel bad when you're playing a guitar. It's impossible.
And I see Mike's got a guitar with him today too.
How long have you been playing? You've been playing for a long time.
45 years, 46 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So I've always wanted to learn the guitar. I've always wanted. It's one of the things. I remember when I was a teenager, and somebody, like a friend of the family, donated a guitar to us, and for whatever reason, lessons never came about. It was sitting in the closet for years, and then I think it got sold at like a yard sale or something.
Okay.
When I moved out, and I never got a chance to learn how to play. From there, I tried to play actually after I got out of the service, and I had a really nice Ibanez halberd that I bought. I just stumbled across it on eBay. And so this is a lifelong goal that I have been trying to pursue. I didn't even have the resources to do it until the Guitars for Vets program. That guitar also went by the wayside. So first of all, this is like a check off of my bucket list. And then as for, how it helps with PTSD, first of all, everybody's PTSD, I think, is a little bit different. A lot of it, I think, corresponds to the specific experiences. I think a lot of it corresponds to exactly, how the experiences might have affected somebody. So no two people will have the exact same, symptoms or the exact same experience. That being said, I think, kind of an anxiety or a fear is one of the overarching prevailing effects.
Okay.
And that can affect you anywhere. You can be talking to your boss and something comes up and you're like, I'm not prepared for this. And all of a sudden you just kind of freak out and you're trying to handle it, or, you know, maybe you're just out at a restaurant and you think that you're having a very straightforward conversation, and then somebody comments that you're watching everybody walking around. Being able to sit down and do something with your hands and focus and repetition, that calms somebody's mind. I would like to say that it's kind of like a meditation in a way.
Okay.
And then as you go, you learn expression, you learn self-expression.
Yes.
And the music combined with the self-expression is a very powerful tool.
Absolutely. Yes.
You know, I would say that that's probably something that any of the blues artists that you talk to would probably say, you know, that self-expression during the hardest times of your life, or maybe even a way to make yourself feel more powerful when you don't feel that way naturally.
Right. Makes sense. You're listening to Time Signatures. I'm your host, Jim Irvin. And along with me today is the executive director of the VFW National Home, Michael Wilson. And we also have, as you just heard, gentleman here also works at the VFW National Home, Travis Mandenberg. But he is also a part of the first graduating class of the Guitars for Vets locally. And this is, to me, it has a very deep touch, okay? Because as I said, I have a deep passion for the veterans and the people that have served our country as they have. And to see people that can benefit from a program like this is absolutely wonderful. I think that Travis reached out and mentioned that, you know, the expression of music and different things to help get through PTSD. Very, very important. Now, I know that they accept stuff nationally. We already determined that they accept guitars here locally. I would assume you also take cash donations and whatnot.
We absolutely do. Our Guitars for Vets chapter hasn't done any fundraisers in the past, but what we want to do is we want to do fundraisers for Guitars for Vets.
Sure.
And so, you know, they do so much for us. I mean, literally, they loan us the guitars that the students learn with, and then each student that graduates gets a free guitar. You know?
Right.
And I'm sure they get a number of those donated too, but they've still got to operate. And so they've got a pretty massive operating budget. And just in speaking with some folks at Guitars for Vets, they're falling a bit short of their fundraising goal for the year. And so I want to take an opportunity for our chapter to do some fundraising, either through, you know, getting a donated guitar and raffling it off, or maybe we'll do some kind of a concert or jam session out here and charge some admission. But
man, wouldn't that be cool? I would love to see something like that.
Well, you and I will be talking, because that's I really think that's something we'll be doing in the summer this year, is putting together a little jam out here and feature a couple of our students and get a couple of local acts to come out and play. And,
I got something I want to talk to you about after we get done here. I'm getting the wheels turning already.
Good.
And I'm excited about that.
So that can actually be a great warm-up for our 2025 100th anniversary.
Yes.
So, you know, we turn 100 in 2025.
That's crazy. That's so exciting.
You know, Guitars for Vets, as far as I'm concerned, is going to be a part of the main stage of that. And
sure.
So you and I will have to rub our brains together and see what we can come up with for something for 2025.
And and we're definitely going to have to keep in touch, because I want to be here when you have the celebration. I think that'd be so cool to see.
Right.
Now, I was nosing around the Guitars for Vets page. Now, do you guys take items other than guitars locally? Because I see they take a little bit of everything, bass guitars and acoustics and electrics.
We would take ukuleles, bass guitars, whatever. I mean, because we also want veterans to explore that.
Sure.
You get the basics of a 6-string guitar, and we actually have a night during the 10 weeks of class where we bring in a 12-string and a mandolin, and somebody brought a cigar box guitar, 3-strings.
Those are cool.
They are cool.
Yeah.
And so I can't remember, Travis brought in an electric guitar, and so we had a little bit of everything so people could just see maybe a 6-string acoustic isn't their gig. You know, maybe they would rather play, but it's all things strings. And so there's usually one of the 3 instructors here can play any one of those instruments. And so if somebody wants to, you know, they have to graduate Guitars for Vets with a 6-string, but by exploring some of them other stringed instruments, they may find something they want to try and do something different. So yeah, we'll accept any kind of stringed instruments, accessories, guitar straps, picks, strings, any of that kind of stuff. And so we'll use it all. So.
Now, in talking to Travis, I know he's got a little bit of the blues in his repertoire. He likes the blues. What about you, man?
Oh, man, it's my past.
Is it?
Yeah. another story, if you don't mind.
Please.
I was a rocker. I was
That's
a 70s.
What this is. That's what this show's about. You know? It's all about
history.
The blues.
All right, good. 70s. Grew up in the 60s and 70s with rock and roll. And, and I knew there was a little blues and rock and roll. I didn't know much about it. But I had a brother-in-law that was a big blues fan. As a matter of fact, he was a harmonica player, and he could sit in just about anywhere with his harmonica.
Right.
And he come over and visited my sister one night. She had to go to work, and he said, well, let's go to the drive-in. I don't know if you remember drive-ins or not, but I said, what's playing at the drive-in? He says a movie called The Blues Brothers. And I said, well, I'd love to go see that, So I ride with him in his old 67 Chevy pickup truck, 2 lawn chairs and a cooler full of whatever. And we get to the drive-in, and sure enough, he knows 80% of the songs that are being played during this movie.
Wow.
And by the end of the movie, he's standing on the tailgate, and we backed up the hill, and was facing the tailgate, facing the music. And he's standing on the tailgate playing Shake Your Tail Feathers or one of the songs in that. And nobody's watching the movie. All the cars around us are watching him play the harmonica. And I was like, what is this thing you play? It's the blues. It's the blues. And so from then on, I was a SRV, Eric Clapton, more modern blues. And then the further I grew into it, the more I learned about Robert Johnson and some of the older blues players. And then just fell in love with the blues. And then, I was playing the 6-string back then, but I was a country boy. So I liked playing country songs. Grew up with bluegrass, my parents. But then I started learning a little 12-bar and figured I could hold my own with some 3-chord, things. And so then I started playing the blues. And so I like playing the blues. Love playing the blues. Love seeing the blues.
Beautiful.
Love all of it. So
we'll have to talk about that too. We got all kinds of things to talk about.
Right, Matter of fact, when we're doing lessons, my son and my buddy plays, and they're all teaching rock, and I'm trying to edge us towards the blues. I want these guys to walk away with some blues influence.
Absolutely, man.
I actually have, I don't know if I have it on my phone with me, but I have some video of your son shredding on that Matchbox guitar that got brought in.
Oh, the guitar box,
Yeah, that's cool.
Box,
It had pickups on it. He plugged into his amp, and he was shredding on a Matchbox guitar. It was amazing to see.
Yeah. That is so cool.
He's very good.
Travis, I wanted to have you speak to something, if you can, here for me. Obviously, you've been a beneficiary of the Guitars for Vets program. Say there's a vet out there listening right now that maybe feels like they could use or benefit from some kind of musical therapy in their life. What would you recommend to them?
Oh, man. You're going to get me all emotional here.
That's what this is about, brother.
When I graduated from the class, the big feeling that I had was that I did not deserve the guitar. I wanted to pass it out and actually donate it back to the program. And it wasn't because, I didn't like it. Like you can see I have an electric here.
Sure.
And the guitar that they gave me was an acoustic, and it wasn't because I didn't like it. It wasn't because I didn't want it. I didn't feel like I had earned it. So here's the thing. This program is put together primarily by vets, or at least that's my, I didn't do the research, but by vets and for vets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We understand each other. We understand each other probably more than anybody else can understand us.
Yes, sir.
Anybody who's listening, you will absolutely benefit from this program. You absolutely deserve the chance to participate in this program. We want you to, whether it is just to experience what it's like to play a guitar for, the first time in your life, or if, you need it as a way to help you process things. It can do all of that. So, if you're in an area that has it, that has a Guitars for Vets program, seek it out. And I would also like to say, if there's anybody who has, resources, maybe teaches guitar or something, and you want to find a way to give back, this is a great way to do it. And I will say that absolutely any veteran that you interact with will appreciate. If you're a guitar teacher, a guitar shop owner, whatever, please reach out to the program.
What's nice about the Guitars for Vets program is that you don't have to need to learn to play the guitar to be in the chapter. If you're a novice guitarist and you just want to join the chapter and be a part of the group of people that play, you can do that. You can be you don't need the 10 lessons. Maybe you've got some guitar skill,
Sure.
And you just want to be a part of the chapter, join the chapter. And so, we all learn from each other. I mean, it's, veterans learn from veterans, guitarists learn from guitarists, and, and so everything's technique and you can be a part of the chapter. You don't have to go through the 10 lesson program if you already know how to play the guitar. So we wouldn't want somebody that flies a jet airplane have to learn how to fly a plane. So, but also we don't want to bore anybody with, because a lot of us are novice guitar players, and so all just trying to figure it out together. But yeah, I would say the same thing as Travis said. If you're a veteran and you want to know more about playing guitar, you want to know more about stringed instruments, you want to meet with people that like that too, then you've got patience, because some of it takes patience.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Call us up, be a part of the chapter.
Well, if you're listening and you want to donate to this very worthwhile cause, let me give a little bit of information here. You can make a phone call to make a donation. Their number is 855-448-4376. That's 855-G4V Hero. You can also send donations to the Guitars for Vets Processing Center. The address is 13400 Bishops Lane, Suite 120 in Brookfield, Wisconsin, 53005. Now, I will make sure to put these on our Facebook page and make sure that that information is out there, also on our YouTube page when we get that up. You can also donate your musical equipment by calling the same number, or you can email Michael at guitarsforvets.org. Now, the important part, it's all important, but the locally important part is, how do they reach out to you, sir?
They can go to our website, vfwnationalhome.org. I think we have a link on there to the Guitars for Vets website. We don't have an actual page on our website yet, but you can also reach out to info@vfwnationalhome.org. That'll go to one of our staff that'll send it to the right person. And so you can call us here. Now I got to remember that number. 517-663. Help me out, Travis.
1521.
That's the one.
All right.
517-663-1521.
Very cool. Here. Guys, I want to thank you both for being here today. And thank you, Travis, especially for sharing on a personal level what this program has meant to you. I know that the PTSD stuff is, I don't understand it because I didn't go through it. But I understand the depth and the importance of being able to address it and move forward with your life and try to learn how to cope as well. But I'm very glad to have both of you here. As I wrap up, I just want to remind you, keeping the blues alive is what we're all about here. Preserving the history of the blues, one story at a time. That's my mission. And so until next time, be well. And we will see you on the next edition of Time Signatures.
This has been Time Signatures with Jim Irvin, presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan. For more information on cabs, visit capitalareablues.org. You can find this episode and past episodes at lccconnect.org. The Time Signatures theme song, Michigan Roads, is used by permission and was written by Root Doctor, featuring Freddie Cunningham.
I'm trying, baby, driving up and down Michigan road, yeah.
Until next time, keep on keeping the blues alive.